I just feel like I've been tortured as like a Caraval fan. Hey guys, it's Story. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. This is the start of the OUABH reading vlog, Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. I have my copy right here. I have 2 copies. I've been really bad at vlogging. I should have started this vlog a long time ago. I'm about 60% through it. I'm literally on part 3. There's 3 parts to it, I'm pretty sure. 2/3 of the way, so 66% through this book. Look how beautiful this is. This is the pink exclusive edition from Barnes & Noble. It was a pre-order, so I don't think they are available anymore. Actually, I think they are available. It's just not signed. So this copy is signed, and I have a lot to discuss about the Caraval series, the publisher, the author, the marketing, specifically this book, the marketing for this book and the editions and all that. But before I get into any of that, like I said, I'm 66% of the way through it, so I feel like I don't want to update you with all of that reading because I'm just a bad vlogger. But I remember the feelings I had once I got to chapter 10. So right now I'm at chapter 37 for reference, so it's been a hot minute. Let me go ahead and tell you what I thought within the first 10 chapters. I ended up messaging all of my Caraval specific friends on Instagram to see what they thought. They have already read the book. I was pleasantly surprised that everyone agreed with me, so everyone has kind of the same thoughts as me. It wasn't just me. I typically have unpopular opinions, as most of you know. Oh, I guess I should say before I get into it, there will be spoilers eventually, but I will let you know as soon as I start talking about spoilers. I'm gonna keep it spoiler free for this first little section so that if you haven't read it yet, you can still watch this video for a little bit. If you don't know what this is, it is the next book in the Caraval world. So the Caraval series is completed. It is a trilogy, and then this is the book directly after the Caraval series. I won't get into too much of the marketing yet, but I have some feelings. Just know that I personally think you should read the Caraval series before reading this book. Over and over again, you'll see the marketing saying that you don't have to do that. There are spoilers in here. I don't know why the marketing is trying to get you to read this book before the Caraval series, but I do not recommend it. It's not gonna feel like a spoiler when you're reading it maybe, but then it's just really gonna give you less of an experience when reading the original trilogy, because it's all about mystery and wonder, kind of like this whimsical fun world, and you're gonna lose all that fun and wonder those first couple books, those first 3 books, if you read this first, because you know the ending. We see our main 2 characters in this book around the chapter 10. I don't like it. You kind of go over some things that happened in the Caraval series like very quickly, but like you're going to lose all of that like surprise and mystery and fun of those books if you read this first. So I would not recommend it. Like I said, you might not even know what the spoiler is per se, but then once you get to like the end of the first book or the end of the second book, you're really kind of spoiling yourself for like the fun and the mystery of it. So anyways, our main character, Evangeline Fox. I don't like her. She's very, very boring. I kind of feel like the author just redid Scarlet. So Scarlet is kind of like the boring sister. Donatella is the more fun, adventurous one. And then Scarlet is the responsible older sister. I have a special place in my heart for Scarlet. It just felt very like the start of Caraval kind of, I guess, where I just felt like Evangeline Fox was basically Scarlet. Now that I am almost 3/4 of the way through this, Evangeline is more boring than Scarlet. So there's nothing to her. She makes super wise decisions. She's not fun. She's not entertaining. Her thought process is very like she's very one-dimensional, I guess is what I'm trying to say. She's very boring, very one-dimensional. The only thing cool about her, I guess, is her rose gold hair. And then as the story unfolds, more interesting things happen with her to make her more interesting. But as a character itself, very bland. The writing is just not what I expected. I expected that typical Caraval writing. I expected to feel like I was in the Caraval world, and I am not experiencing either of those, and it has not changed. The things she's going through it's been quite boring compared to Caraval, and of course the game's not involved. There's no Caraval game. but this is the chance to really open up the world and explore the world more and make things more fun. And I do like the north. So in the Caraval series, we're in the south mainly, so it's more like tropical weather, and now we're in the north. Jax, of course. The reason that I'm reading this, Jax is my favorite character in the Caraval series, and unfortunately I just feel like he's not written the same. Like, this isn't really up to chapter 10, it's kind of what I've read altogether so far, but I'm like not craving his return. Like in Caraval, if you are a Jax fan, you constantly are craving his return. You want him to be in the story, and he's not always there. He's always like doing his own thing, and then he comes back and you never really know what he's up to, and that's kind of like the point of his character. He's definitely up to something, but it's not anything like really that interesting, I guess. And there's no like tension. There's usually some sort of tension. Right at chapter 10, I thought this is just the Donatella and Jax story. Like, it's the same exact story. It's like she wrote Scarlet and then put her in to Donatella's story with Jax, like plot line with Jax. And I don't understand why we're just experiencing the same things. And of course, like, since there's no game, like everything around them is less fun. So Jax is underwhelming, Evangeline is extremely underwhelming, and for some reason, Evangeline is so hyper focused on her stepsister Marisol. It just doesn't really make any sense why. Like, a very big part of this story is Marisol, her stepsister, who has like done her wrong, but for some reason Evangeline like really wants the best life for her. And I don't know if the author just wanted to keep that same like sister aspect, like sisters falling in love at the same time, and there's like family dynamics and stuff, but it's just not the same as Scarlet and Donatella. It just feels like the themes are the same, yet the writing has lost that true Caraval writing, that whimsical feeling you get, that very just like magical, fun, mysterious, whimsical writing and plot and characters. It's just the whole aesthetic and mood of the Caraval series is not in this book. So far, it's definitely my least favorite Caraval book, I would say, but we'll see what happens. I'll give you another update. Hey, Pikachu. Dramatic. I'm back to talk more shit. My camera's about to die, so we'll see how long I can film, but I'm back again to talk more about Once Upon a Broken Heart. Okay, so I'm only on chapter, I don't even know if you can see that. No, it's way too bright in here, but I'm only on chapter 38 right now, so I haven't gotten that much farther. I cannot bend down like this. I'm gonna have to put the dog out or she's going to annoy us. If you're wondering why I never film downstairs in front of my bookshelf, it's because I vlog or film wherever my boyfriend isn't, and right now he's downstairs, so I just came upstairs to vlog real quick. But I'm gonna go ahead and go over my thoughts between chapter 10 until part 3, where I just started last night. I only read a couple chapters, yeah. But one thing that's just like really annoying me is the whole tabloid thing. So if you've already been reading it, by the way, there's probably going to be spoilers in this section now, so I don't know when exactly I will spoil, so just keep that in mind if you haven't read it yet. But also, before I start, if you haven't seen any of my other Caraval videos, I will link them down below, specifically my tier ranking video I did not that long ago. But this is the example. You're not going to be able to see it, way too bright. There's little newspaper clippings, and it's of a tabloid. Basically, they are rumors, and they're almost always negative. It's called The Daily Rumor, and it's by Christoph Neitlinger, and this just reminds me so much of Rita Skeeter from Harry Potter. I mean, how can it not remind you of that? It's basically a person that tries to interview you and will change your words to make it look bad on you. The whole Rita Skeeter thing, so that's one of the things I feel like she has pulled from Harry Potter. There's several others. For some reason, the names are all like really long, kind of crazy names like Harry Potter, whereas in Caraval, I did not feel like it was like that. They were actually shorter names, almost all of them, except for like Scarlet and Donatello. I wonder if she did that to have like a different kind of aesthetic for the North as opposed to the South, but it definitely doesn't have the same like mood and aesthetic and feelings as Caraval, as I've already said. But I don't know if it's like better though. It just feels not Caraval-y, but it also doesn't read like a fairy tale to where I would hate it either. But anyways, I really don't enjoy the whole newspaper tabloid format of the book. It's like so much. If there was one like every 6 chapters as opposed to like every 2 chapters, then it probably would be pretty cool, but it's just so annoying. Like the whole book you are keeping up with these rumors about her and about other people, and I just feel like it just doesn't matter. It's just kind of silly. But it kind of goes back to what I've said about there's such a focus on the stepsister Marisol. Our main character Evangeline just cannot stop obsessing over her. Like, I think there's kind of a mystery whether Marisol is like good or evil, if she's doing things against Evangeline or if she's not, because you're kind of like not really sure, because you're not sure what happened in the beginning with Luce. Basically, Luce and Evangeline were in love, and then randomly he was to marry Marisol, and then she has not talked to Luce since. She now cannot find him, so it's a whole mystery of like what's happened with Luce and all that, but we're not focusing on that. So I know that will come to light later on, just like in Caraval, how their missing mother came to light. It's like something I always kept in the back of my mind. I was like, we're gonna meet their mom at some point. It's gonna have to do with something. But yeah, really not enjoying it. It's just like, it takes away from the story. It doesn't make the story fun. I hate any scene with Marisol. Now that I'm getting more through the book, I will say in part 2 there is less of Marisol, and so far in part 3 I haven't seen Marisol yet. So I think she's probably up to something, but part 1, like 0 out of 5 stars in my opinion. Of course you have to like star rate it, so I guess it'd be 1 out of 5 stars, but part 2 I would give like 1 out of 5 stars as well. Finally in part 2 something interesting and fun starts to happen. I've just been so bored so far. The only parts I like usually have Jax in them, and they're just so underwhelming. They just don't feel like Jax scenes and chapters, and so it's just really disappointing. But anyways, finally something exciting happens. We basically are just following Evangeline trying to win the prince over. There's no like really motive behind it, I would say. It seems like she's just kind of doing it for fun and then thinks Marisol can get something out of it as well. Basically, Jax is there. He has her kiss Apollo, the prince, with his like blood or whatever to make him cursed and fall in love with Evangeline. So then he does, and he proposes to Evangeline. She says yes. Later on she tells Jax that she doesn't want to do that, but he said that she has to do that for the prophecy that we learn later on. Again, another Harry Potter thing, like with the prophecy. We see Marisol and Jax talking, so that's obviously foreshadowing something. For a while it's just basically Apollo like smothering her with love, and she knows that it's because of the curse, but you're constantly going back and forth with Evangeline in her head because she like wants to give it, she doesn't want him to be cursed, so she wants to give it a shot without him being cursed because she does kind of like him. When she goes to ask Jax to uncurse him, Jax is like, okay, I'll uncurse him after you marry him. Didn't even explain their whole deal in the beginning, but I'm sure at this point you already know. She has to kiss 3 people that he picks, and obviously he's going to like put his magic on her lips or whatever. Still don't even, I'm gonna get into that whole thing in a bit. But Fortuna's flavored, fantastically flavored waters, Harry Potter. Like, I'm sorry, but there's just so much Harry Potter stuff in this book. I don't know what the deal was with that. I think she must have just gotten inspired by Harry Potter, which we all do, right? Or we all have. She goes there and basically finds out that she's the key to a prophecy. Jax doesn't want her to like worry about it, so he's like underplaying it, but she's definitely the key to a prophecy. And basically we learn about these different arches, which we have seen up until this point, and there's a very specific one called the Valori Watch and Arch, and the Valors, I kept saying Valor when I was reading it, but I think it's Valors, are basically the royalty of the North, but they are all dead at this point, and there's just like a lot of history with the North that we're slowly learning. So finally we're learning more like history of the world. There's something fun happening, at least with our main character, because the main character is just so boring. Nothing's going on, and finally there's like some prophecy that she's involved with, and she's a princess now, and so finally there's some stuff happening. I'm here for it now. Not super here for it. This is kind of like a 3-star book for me right now. We'll see what happens towards the end, if it cranks it up any more. Just a very average book. I'm gonna say it's gonna be either 3 or 3.5. Evangeline then weds Apollo, and on their wedding night, she wants to break the curse, so Jax puts the magic on her lips or whatever. She kisses him and he dies, and she's pissed off because she's like, I didn't want him to die. I just didn't want him to be cursed. And we find out that Jax said that there was never any magic on her lips to begin with, that he can will people. And of course I'm annoyed at something else. This whole thing annoys me because I don't remember that ever being the case in the Caraval series. So why would it be introduced now, where he can make anyone do anything? And Evangeline has this theory that since his magic has like dwindled since he's been banned from the South, he can only will 3 people at once, and that's something she keeps talking about, so that's going to come into play later for sure. I don't like things being added to my to my favorite character when we didn't know anything about that in the first 3 books, unless I'm just thinking like too much into it and it's not even really a big deal. But anyways, Evangeline starts crying, and she's basically crying to death. Someone has poisoned her. Turns out Lala is a fate, so some more things are happening finally. Not until 3/4 of the book, whereas like the Caraval series, you have mystery and like fun stuff happening like every like chapter and section of the book. So expectations were just super different. I'm very disappointed in this book, as you guys will know. I'm not trying to talk so negatively about it, but anyways, Lala is the unwed bride, and she cries tears of like death. So she sold off her tears a while back, and that person then used those in the wine to poison them. So that's the point I'm at now. Jax and Evangeline are fugitives, so now they're like paired together. There's like forced proximity trope or whatever, and I have a feeling I'm going to like it from here on out, because now I'm just gonna get Jax content and they're gonna be together the whole time. I'm hoping to learn more about Jax. Like I really haven't learned anything new about Jax. I feel like there's a lot of hints towards like him being in love and obsessed with Donatella, and that's all great and stuff because it like gives you those feelings, you know, but like let's do something new now. Let's like learn more information about Jax. I want to know about the silver apples, like what's the deal with the apples, where did he came from, what's his origin story. Like that's what I expected with these books, and it's just like not happening. We just aren't focusing on Jax enough in my opinion, but I have a feeling we're about to, and then the next book might be just like way better than this book because it's actually going to focus on Jax, hopefully. But I will say, we just found out there's a vampire. One of the fates are a vampire. Y'all know, vampire. Y'all know I love vampires, so I'm so excited there's a vampire introduced in the Caraval world. That's freaking awesome. So they're about to go find Chaos is one of the fates' name, and yeah, they just told us that he's a vampire. Really interested to see where the story's gonna go now. I finally feel like excited to learn more and to be with Jax more in the story. So I am kind of annoyed that Apollo died as well though. I don't know why I expected him to be around more, but I don't know. I kind of did have some like hope for him and Evangeline. So it didn't like hurt me too bad, but it was definitely unexpected. This is the first like unexpected thing to happen, and I'm happy because I need that. That's what Caraval is like all the unexpectedness, you know? Someone just went on a walk and she's very tired. Alright, so I don't know when this video is going up, but I am giving away these books. Excuse my little Christmas lights there, but I'm giving away these books on both my channel here and also my Instagram at Storybook. If you want to win any of them, we got a mix of like YA fantasy, sci-fi, mystery, thriller, so should be good. We're gonna have 4 winners, so just popping it in here if I haven't posted already. I wanted to jump on and give y'all a little update with my reading. So I only have 9 chapters to go and I will finish this book, which is actually really sad because one, is something gonna happen to where I'm going to enjoy myself within those 9 chapters? I hope so. I hope she saved all of the eventful stuff for the end, or maybe this is gonna have more like a second book syndrome, since I think it's gonna be a duology because it just feels like a second book. So I'm hoping the next book, it just has like all this amazing Jax content. I'm definitely going to read it no matter what my rating is of this. Let's see what chapter I'm on. I'm on chapter 45, so I'm like 7 or 8 chapters later. So as you know, I was really excited that there was a vampire involved now, but homegirl decided to make my favorite character a vampire, so yeah, definitely not supposed to be a vampire. He's a fate. I don't want him to be anything else. The Jax of Heart is supposed to be the Jax of Hearts, like not a vampire. And I'm a little annoyed because the whole vampire thing was introduced just oddly. Like, it just doesn't feel like it should be in this book. It doesn't feel like vampires should really be a part of the world. And so I'm really wondering if Stephanie saw the hype for Midnight Sun while she was writing this and thought, oh, people are getting back into vampires, so maybe she was just like inspired or thought it would be a good idea. I don't know. I'm totally fine with the fake chaos being a vampire. That's, you know, fine. But it's more a part of the story than I thought, because she gets there and she sees that Luce is like a newborn. He's about to be a vampire. Like, he's about to transition. Also, I just want to mention that it really bothers me that Jax has a nickname for Evangeline when we all know the whole nickname thing is Scarlet and Julian's thing. Julian calls Scarlet Crimson. Now Jax calls Evangeline Little Fox. I'm sure it's going to go back to the tale of the fox and the catcher. Obviously, he must be the archer in that, right? Or maybe it's someone else, but maybe it's Marisol. I don't know. We know that we can't trust Marisol though, and come to find out, we learn a lot when we see Luce, and I was excited about this because it did make the plot a little bit more interesting, but it all happened so fast. But we find out that he was cursed. We believe that Marisol cursed him. We know that she has this book. This is like the spell book. It's like a hidden spell book. That's why it says recipes of the ancient North translated for the first time in 500 years. It's supposed to be like a, they want people to think it is a cookbook when it's actually not. So I like that I have this. I keep showing it because it's just so beautiful. I also have a lot of feelings with like the marketing and all that with the publisher and author that I would like to discuss because it all just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Sorry about the lighting, I'm trying to fix it. I just feel like a lot of things were kind of taken from Harry Potter. There's like this vampire influence now, which I feel like is a Twilight thing. I'm just seeing a lot of the same like aspects and tropes from Caraval, which is like fine if that's just what she likes to write about, but the mood and aesthetic of Caraval is not there anymore, and like the characters just are so bland, the writing's bland. So I don't really know. I don't know. Maybe someone was in a reading or a writing slump. I hate like saying something specifically about the author like that, but it's just, there's just like a lot, I don't want to say wrong with it, just so much that's different. It just does not feel like a Caraval book. Like, if you're gonna say this is a Caraval book, like within the world, then it needs to be a Caraval book. But yeah, now Jax is a vampire, or he's transitioning, and I don't know what's gonna happen. I feel like a Fate should not be able to turn into a vampire. So I don't know what's gonna happen with that, but we got to hear Jax's side of his and Donatella's story, so that was really nice. It really makes you feel bad for Jax, which I've always felt bad for Jax in the whole situation. But finally, I feel like the two main characters are like growing closer, and we're seeing more scenes of them together. You know, I am still interested of what's going to happen, but the whole vampire thing, like, just don't care about that. And we did find out that the person who killed Apollo, the one that poisoned him, was a girl. So immediately I thought of Marisol, but like, I think that's kind of what they want you to think, so I don't think it was actually Marisol. There's several people it could be. But yeah, still my feelings have not really changed. I would say if I were to rate this right now, I don't even think it would get 3 stars. I think on Goodreads I would give it 2 stars, and the true rating would be like a 2.5, but we'll see where it goes from here. I only have 9 chapters left, so I'm planning on reading the rest tonight, maybe a little bit throughout the day, and then tonight I'll finish it. And I'm like really nervous because I just feel like not a lot is happening, and I don't think a lot could happen within 9 chapters. So all right, so excuse the horrid lighting. It is 10 o'clock the same day. I have officially finished Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber, and I'm just feeling a lot of things right now. I forgot this book has the epilogue, and so obviously if you don't have this version, you don't have the epilogue. That's kind of a special add-in they did to get you to buy this special version, and I'm very upset about the epilogue, so I will talk about that in a minute. Let me just say, I'm really pissed off about how marketing for this book has said what is spoilery and what isn't, because as you know, it's been said that you can read this and not be spoiled of the Caraval series. I do not recommend reading this book if you have not read the Caraval series, because you will be introduced to characters that are in the series and you get hints. Not even hints, like Jax and Tella's story is mentioned so many times and he literally explains it at the end, like his side of it. And that is a good plot for the second and third book of the series. So I'm just like, the fact that you know that the sisters are royalty ruins the whole series. I'm assuming at this point, since I've already talked about spoilers, it's just going to be Caraval people at this point. So let me know if you agree or not. Wow, this light is really harsh. Let me finish my train of thought, but what I was saying earlier is that in this epilogue, before it starts, it basically says that they were going to include all of the epilogue, but the author felt like it was too spoilery, so it's kind of like this extra thing. So I'm sitting here thinking like, oh, I'm gonna learn something about like the next book. This is amazing, because it literally just ended on a cliffhanger, so this is awesome. I'm happy I have this version. Let me just show you real quick. I won't talk too long about the epilogue. I'll talk about it in a second. But trust me, this isn't a spoiler. Do you see this? You see this? Spoilers are literally marked out so that you can't see them. So I just read this epilogue and didn't gain anything from it. It just pisses me off even more because it's again, the marketing is lying to you. It's telling you the opposite. Yes, if you read this, you are spoiled for the Caraval series. Like, I'm so sorry to anyone who has read this and now is gonna go back. And I mean, I guess not everything will be spoiled, but a lot of really big important things will be spoiled for you. And then literally I get a warning saying like, this is going to be it's going to be spoilery. And then they literally crossed out the spoilers. And I didn't gain anything from that. And marketing tries to get you to buy these special editions. Ugh. I'm in marketing, not in that industry, obviously. It's just really, really, really been rubbing me the wrong way. I will not be following the marketing for the next book, or I will get pissed off and I will film like a rant video or something and just piss everyone off. So anyways, where did I leave off? I think I was pissed off. Of course, because this book has done nothing but piss me off. But Jax becoming a vampire, well, guess what? He didn't even become a vampire. Dawn came, he turned back into a human, aka a fate. Funny enough, when all of the newborns were in their cages, they were freaking out trying to get out. If they didn't feed on someone before dawn broke, they would die. So you either turn into a vampire or you die. And so I'm sitting here thinking like, what the heck is going on? Why are they waiting until dawn? And then when dawn comes, he turns back into himself. Like, he loses the blue hair, it goes back to blonde. So he turned back into himself. It's not even explained why it was different for him, unless I must have read something wrong. There was one positive from what I've read, and that was we finally got some of our typical Jax content where there's like a lot of tension building. He's like the bad boy that wants you but doesn't, and super complicated and like troubled and tortured in our typical Jax. And so finally got some of that content, although it didn't last very long. Evangeline goes back to Wolf Hall, creates an antidote. We literally go to Jax's house, Jax's study, and learn nothing about Jax. Nothing. I'm really excited for the next book just because I feel like I'm gonna finally get what I want. If this ends up being a trilogy, the next book will probably piss me off even more, let's be honest. Probably won't get anything I want until the third book. So I'm hoping it's gonna be a duology and not a trilogy. But anyways, we didn't learn anything about the apples. We didn't learn about why he had blue hair. The Valori Arch, the prophecy, nothing new. The Archer and the Fox. We didn't learn anything about Jax, nothing. She even starts going through his stuff and then doesn't uncover anything, but she does find a spell book, and that's when she makes the antidote, which is the truth serum. I guess Stephanie just wanted to torture us. She was like, oh, you think I'm gonna give you all this Jax content when really I'm not gonna give you Jax shit. Learn that Tiberius is the one killed Apollo. He was trying to kill Evangeline. He wants Evangeline dead because he is a part of the Protectorate. He does not want Evangeline to open the Valori Arch. You know that Marisol confesses to giving Luce, it's Luce, right? Not Luke. I've been saying Luce. A love potion, so that was all right, but Marisol pisses me off. Like, I have not liked Marisol since the beginning of this book, and I just wish she would die already. Like, can we kill Marisol, please? She basically is Evangeline's, like, ultimate fangirl. She just wants to be Evangeline. So she's trying to, like, get rid of Evangeline so she can be her and, like, take all her men, basically. Because she even tried to talk to Jax. Don't like Marisol, don't like Tiberius. Who have I liked? Honestly, I liked Evangeline more as the story went, just because there's really no one else I do like. I mean, Jax is obviously my favorite character, so I love Jax. Evangeline is just like okay. I don't know, she's just like an okay main character. Everyone else just like, there's like no good characters in this book, and I mean, all I really care about is Jax anyways. But the bodyguard takes Evangeline down to this basement. Jax has arrived. He, like, for some reason, we don't know why, he has been, like, put in a sleep. Could have been an act, or it could have been, like, this actual thing. I don't know. This wasn't fun. It was just torturous. Is that a word? It was just, like, I just feel like I've been tortured as like a Caraval fan. I don't know how any Caraval fan is giving this a good rating. I kind of want to go look at the ratings now, but I wondered why everyone was so excited for the release, but like I never saw anyone's review. Like I never saw people actually reading it and being excited after reading it. And so it all kind of makes sense now. It's just really a really disappointing and really underwhelming book. Apollo isn't dead. I knew this was going to happen. There's so many things I want to talk about, but for some reason I knew he was not going to be dead. Evangeline figures out the details that she thinks that Jax really was behind a lot of this, and it's all to get her to open the Valori Arch. So I guess she's decided that she's just not going to open it. But like, why? Like, true to her character reading this book, she wants to open it. She's too curious. Like, it's all she wants. She just wants to know about that. Like, so she's not going to open it now just because Jax wants her to? She's so upset about this Apollo guy that she barely knew. Like, it just doesn't, none of it makes sense. And that's where it ends. It ends on a cliffhanger there. And I knew it ended on a cliffhanger. I've seen that going around, so I expected that. We all know that she's a Valor, right? Like, that is very obvious. Like, she has been able to talk to objects, and objects can talk to her since the start of the book. Her and Jax are able to talk to each other. Not sure why. I'm thinking it's the Archer and the Fox thing. I'm thinking they might want you to think that that's his one true love, and that could be the case or not. I don't know. I think she might have a thing for Apollo. I'm gonna guess this next book is gonna be another love triangle. It's gonna be between Apollo and Jax, but you know what? Like I said, this is literally Tella and Jax's story with a Scarlet character, and that's what's happening. It's gonna be a love triangle. I just want to throw this book. So at first I thought, well, her mom's from the north, so her mom is her mom, but I think either her mom left on purpose, like her mom is a Valor. I think she's the daughter. Or maybe she's the granddaughter, but if not, then she's an orphan, but she's a Valor, like 100%. I just feel like I have this whole book figured out, kind of. Yeah, so basically, before you get to the epilogue, this is where it says too spoilery to put in the other books. If you don't want to know this, you don't have to listen to me talk about it, but you're gonna want to know it because there's no spoilers. A tavern, a magical tavern where people go to tell secrets. Also something that was taken from Harry Potter. I think she must have just been inspired by Hogsmeade, because that's the kind of vibes I'm getting from this epilogue. And we know that Jax is there and he's meeting with someone, and basically he's eating an apple, but their whole conversation is blacked out, so you don't know what they're saying. He's basically saying, I don't want her to be turned into a vampire. And then the next section is another tabloid that I just love reading. It's an interview between the reporter and the Prince of Hearts, Jax. He starts asking some pretty interesting questions, but then of course Jax doesn't answer, so you literally get nothing from this. Why he changed his appearance. He said he doesn't care what people think of him. He said that all the stories are true, and so the reporter said, okay, so are all the rumors true with the princess? He said, I have nothing to do with Evangeline Fox. He was like, I'm not talking about her, I'm talking about Donatella. And then Jax says, who is she, the one who was recently kidnapped by her lover? So this is the only thing we learned from this epilogue. So we know that Donatella is with Legend. So Jax is implying that Donatella was kidnapped by Legend. So I'm like, okay. And then the reporter said, yes, but I heard, and then he cuts him off. The reporter says, why so many apples? And Jax says, if you have to ask, you wouldn't understand. Are the apples a part of your evil plan? And he says no. He said, no, apples are not a part of my evil plan. I don't have any plans, but you have a want. And then he walks out. So, literally ask about the apples, and she gave us nothing. She wanted to toy with us with the apples, but so yeah, I guess literally the only thing we found out was that Tella has been kidnapped by Legend. So does that mean Tella's gonna be in the next book? I mean, I'm super excited if Tella's gonna be in the next book, and we get some Tella and Jax content, and the story isn't like actually over, but we all know Tella is supposed to be with Legend. So I haven't told you my review yet, like my star rating, because I really don't know. Follow me on Goodreads if you aren't already to see what I rate them. It's that storybook, but I'm thinking maybe 3 stars. I don't know. I'm so frustrated by it. I really don't think it is a good book. But then once the second book comes out and maybe the third book, I'll think differently then. This is definitely the worst Caraval book I've ever read. The other books were like off the wall, 5 out of 5 stars. This is like, I'm trying to debate between a 2 and a 3 star. And I did not expect that. But yeah, you guys kind of already know how I feel about the marketing. I had a situation happen where I was supposed to get an arc of this. I was promised an arc, and it never really came, and so I emailed them again, and then no one responded to my email. I think I must have been missed somehow. Something must have happened, and then there was just no response. So I really don't know. So that kind of put a bad taste in my mouth. And then obviously the marketing hasn't been true with the spoilers, which just really pisses me off, because as most of you know, I am very spoiler focused. I do not want to tell people something does not have spoilers when it does, because then that's on me. It's like my responsibility. And so it's the duty of the publisher and the author to communicate the truth when it comes to spoilers. To be honest, I've just made so many Caraval videos and Caraval posts on like Instagram and stuff like that. I've just never received anything from their end. So the arc was definitely going to be that first thing I get, and I was super excited about it because I'm a huge Caraval fan. And even after not receiving the arc, I have made Caraval videos. I have continued to, because I truly love this series, and I don't want it to have a bad taste in my mouth. But I just read this freaking book, and it was just such a big disappointment, and I'm just like disappointed with the whole thing. So yeah, where I'm going from here is I will not be following the marketing of the next book. Obviously I'm still excited and stuff. I'm probably not going to do a release day vlog. I might do a reading vlog like I did for this one, but I'm not going to be sharing anything the author does. I never come on here and rant or say anything negative, like ever, because that's just not how my channel is. There's just been too many things with the marketing that has just like pissed me off. Let me tell you, like, let it be known that you do not need to buy 6 versions of this book. There's no reason. They want your money. Okay? The publisher wants your money. That's all it is. You know, Stephanie seems great. I don't want to say the author wants your money, but like there's no reason, in my opinion, there's no reason to even have 6 editions. You know, if you like the whole buy as many copies as you can to get the secret cover trade and stuff, like if that's fun for you, that's great. I would never pay $20-$30 4 times and then not get the book I want. Obviously, y'all can do whatever you want to do if you're doing that, but I'm mad that I have 2 versions. I only have 2 versions and I'm mad about it. I paid full price for both of them. Yeah, this is gonna stay on my Caraval shelf. It's still very beautiful. I'm gonna take a picture of it for Instagram, just to let everyone know about this video, about this vlog, but I didn't expect this to go this way, and did, and this video is probably super long, so thanks if you have stuck around. You're probably a Caraval fan, and I have either pissed you off or you do agree with me, so let me know what you think down below. My DMs are always open, especially if you are a Caraval reader. But yeah, like this video if you liked it. I'm interested to see what people think and what people say, and like I said, keep up with me on Goodreads to see what I actually rate and what my review is like, because I do not know. So yeah, thanks for watching. I will see you guys in my next one.